The president is a pathological liar. Look it up. Yes, Mr. President, we should. Look it up. Pathological liar. And it is disturbing. Now, I'm going to play 2 pieces of audio for you. Then I'm going to give you 2 new pieces of information. But I'm going to play 2 pieces of audio. The first one is from the debate. If David Letterman was disturbed by this one, how about this amazing lie from the President of the United States? During the debate, they were talking about sequestration. Sequestration. This is so unbelievably dangerous to the United States and our economy. It is a fiscal cliff that will pound us and tear us apart. It will debone the military. It's automatic, bloody cuts. Okay. We'll get into this in a second, but I want to play the reason why this was brought up is because it's ugly. They were talking about the deficit, and it's ugly. And the president knows that anybody who knows about this, if you're debating Mitt Romney, you can't say that this was your idea. You can't have anything to do with it, and you have to get off this topic right away because a business mind like Mitt Romney, somebody who can actually talk to you about the fundamentals of an economy, will tell you exactly what this will do to it. So the president had to distance himself from it and had to say, it's not going to happen. But I'm going to play this audio from the debate. Then we're going to go back to 2011, where the president was asked about this. And I just want to play them back to back. Here we go. Here's the first one.
First of all, the sequester's not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen.
Got it? Here's the old one.
That's going to happen.
Speaking of sequestration.
Play him again and play the whole thing. Play the whole thing from the old one. Play him back to back again and play the whole thing. Here we go.
First of all, the sequester's not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen. That's going to happen, one way or another. We've got $1 trillion locked in, and either Congress comes up with $1.2 trillion, which so far they failed to do, or the sequester kicks in and these automatic spending cuts will occur that bring in an additional $1.2 trillion in deficit.
So I believe the president is being very, very clear here. That's going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's going to happen.
I hope he hasn't caught Romnesia.
It sounds like it's going around.
It must be a contagious disease.
Okay, so here's the president again. Pathological liar. Now, you could say, well, that was 2011. Well, first of all, let's take this. Here's Bob Woodward. You know what a conservative hack he is, right? The guy who exposed Watergate. How did sequestration happen? Let's go to Bob Woodward's book.
He says, of course, the president is saying that that came from Congress, the Republican Congress. And what Woodward says to Politico, what the president said is not correct. He is mistaken, and it is refuted by the people who work for him. Woodward reports in his book that White House Office of Management Director Jack Lew and Legislative Affairs Director Rob Neighbors took the proposal for sequestration to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, and then it was presented to congressional Republicans. They were not first, but third in the list on this proposal.
Got it? So there's your lie from Bob Woodward, and he has the transcript in his book of how it exactly happened and the words that were spoken in those meetings. So the president is lying to the American people, and his own people have verified it in Bob Woodward's book that came out, about a year ago, on exactly how, or last summer, exactly how this thing came down. The president is lying about that. Then he says it's not going to happen. Play again, just as this is the debate. Here he is on sequestration and what it means, and it's definitely not going to happen. Listen again.
First of all, the sequester's not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen.
It will not happen. 24 hours later, the president is in Iowa doing an interview with the Des Moines Register. In the interview, as published now by the Des Moines Register, 24 hours after saying that, this pathological president says this. So when you combine the Bush tax cuts expiring, the sequester in place, The commitment of both myself and my opponent, at least Governor Romney claims he wants to reduce the deficit, but we're going to be in a position where I believe in the first 6 months we're going to solve that big piece of business. Again, the first line. So when you combine the Bush tax cuts expiring, the sequester in place, and the commitment of both myself and my opponent, it will be taken care of. Jeez. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Play those two cuts one more time.
First of all, the sequester is not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen. That's going to happen one way or another. We've got $1 trillion locked in, and either Congress comes up with $1.2 trillion, which so far they've failed to do, or the sequester kicks in and these automatic spending cuts will occur.
And it's important to point out, too, Glenn, the quote you just wrote to the read from the Des Moines Register was supposed to be off the record. He thought no one would ever hear about it. He was talking to reporters to try to form their stories, did not think anyone would ever hear those words.
The Des Moines Register thought it was too important. The Des Moines Register was like, no, you know what? The people of the United States should hear this. Kind of like what the LA Times should do with the videotape of him praising Islamic extremists. But they won't do it. But the Des Moines Register, they had a conversation that was supposed to be off the record. They apparently never agreed to it all being off the record. And when it came down to it, they're like, this is too important. People need to hear this. 24 hours later, this is the first pathological president we have ever had. And David Letterman is concerned about that one lie. David, stop fiddling with the interns, and maybe we can call me because we can help you because it's pathological. It doesn't ever end. At the top of the hour, we'll give you more because the president said something else. He said cut 482, and then we're going to go into a break. This is really important. This is what the president is now saying on the campaign trail about Mitt Romney.
There's no more serious issue on a presidential campaign than trust.
Trust matters. Trust matters.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Iowa, you know me.
Yeah.
You know that I say what I mean.
Oh, my gosh.
And I mean what I say.
Oh, my God.
There's some folks in this crowd who've probably been following me since I was running for the United States Senate. And you know what? You can, like this guy right here who I served with in the United States Senate, George Shedden. Mm-hmm. And you could take a videotape of things I said 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you'd say, man, this is the same guy.
It's the same guy.
Oh,
we're going to do that. We're going to take the videotape of him 10, 12 years ago, and we're going to compare him and see if, my gosh, that's the same guy, or if we have a pathological president. Because, as he said, trust is important. There's nothing more important. Just like Nixon said, you have to know if your president is a crook. Well, it is important now, isn't it? I'm so glad, Mr. President, you brought this up.